It's time for free agency here in the NFL offseason. It is always a fun time of year to see what kinds of things happen, the movers and shakers around the league, who makes a splash in free agency, and who really doesn't, and what big names move around the league to different teams and all of that business. This is B-Ron here on WPOE, giving you all the news and things going on in free agency in the NFL, and of course for our Ravens. And there is some big news coming hot off the presses here in the first week of free agency. The big news is that the Baltimore Ravens have made a trade. They have traded Hayden Hurst and a 2020 fourth round pick this year for Calais Campbell. And Campbell will be moving to the right end position. That also takes care of a need for Baltimore at the right end position. They have Chris Wormley, who is starting this year for them at right end. With the loss of Brandon Williams in the playoffs towards the end of their playoff run in the Super Bowl, that definitely hurt them in that game, in my opinion. So getting a veteran superstar like Campbell is definitely going to have an impact on the defensive line for this year, and I'm super excited to see Campbell play in Baltimore this season. He's been dominant in Jacksonville, and we're hoping to see that dominance continue in this coming season. Last year for the Jaguars, Campbell had 9 sacks, 43 tackles, 29 of them solo. So he is definitely a solid guy to have on your defensive line, and like I said, I'm super excited to have him. He's in his 12th year out of Miami. Been around a long time, super dominant. Back in 2017, he had 14 sacks total. So his best years are probably behind him now, but he's still dominant enough to be able to make an impact. And like I said earlier, looking forward to seeing what kind of impact he can make for the Ravens and the defensive line this season. Looks like we have Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, Jadeveon Clowney, Yannick Ngakoue, and Miles Jack, just to name a few. Kendall Fuller is also on the list. Kendall Fuller, the cornerback for the Chiefs last season, made some big plays against the Ravens in the game that they played. They might be looking at him as a potential spot for an improvement on the cornerback position, because they lost Jimmy Smith in the offseason in re-signing, and they're definitely going to need to want to get a cornerback. I'll have to see what kinds of offers they put out there to people as free agency gets going through the first week or so. I'll be back with the second week, with the first week recap, of course. And the second week of free agency is going to happen very shortly. So, tune back next week, and we will see you guys then. I feel like I should definitely try and go after Kendall, but we desperately need a left guard. Keep Talib. If I don't want to go for Kendall, then I got there Talib for a year or so. See, now you're getting like all of the unfiltered me here today, because not a lot of, it's just me talking to myself a whole lot. So we have signed Kendall Fuller. The contract is for 4 years, $49 million. Kendall Fuller will be coming to Baltimore to play alongside Marlon Humphrey and he's going to be the number 2 corner, I would imagine. It's going to be so fun to see him come into town as well and play with us. Born in Baltimore, grew up here, went to Virginia Tech for college, and now is back home in Baltimore. It's going to be really fun to have Kendall on the team. Super duper excited to have him be a part of this organization. They also did offer a contract to Andrew Wiley, left guard, and it looks like he's probably going to Carolina. There was some offers for him as well, and I think he'll be going to Carolina for the season to play with the Panthers. The Ravens have a 5th-year option on cornerback Marlon Humphrey, and there are discussions about picking it up and whether or not to pick it up, and I think that they would be foolish not to, in fact, pick it up. Word is that they are, in fact, going to pick up Humphrey's 5th-year option, so he will be around for that 5th year, and they will talk about contract options later down the road. That's one less thing for them to worry about. It also shores up that cornerback spot taking a look around at the NFL Combine that is currently going on, and there are some really interesting things as far as some of the players being scouted at the Combine. This is a time where we get to see what kinds of physical traits they have, and they go through a interview process as well with the GMs around the league. Now, Jamal Burgess, a big-time receiver from Central Michigan, we talked about him earlier in the year. He ran the fastest 40 time out of all the receivers with a 4.34 40 time. That's amazing. Super fast kid. We know he can catch the ball too. So it's going to be really fun to see where he goes and what kind of splash he makes at this level. Draft is coming up soon. There's still more combine stuff to go through, however. Ravens need a left guard, and they may look to address it in the draft. And there is a left guard out of Kansas State, Anthony Vibolt, who was the first in the vertical jump and first in the broad jump categories. So those are two interesting stats to keep in mind as far as things to look out for in the draft. Maybe look at the Ravens for drafting Vibolt if he falls to them at some point in the draft. They could also use the upgrade along the center position as well on the offensive line. And I really like Matt Rugg. You heard me talk about his story in the offseason, in the preseason, him and his brother. We've heard that story a million times, but he's also impressed the combine. Especially with that bench press. 33 reps, second center in that category with that bench press. Super strong kid. If he can come to Baltimore, that would be nice to have him as well. That'd be a big upgrade to get for the Ravens along the offensive line. Free agency has wrapped up, and now it's time to go around the league and take a look at some of the big signings that have happened over the course of these last few weeks. We saw our Ravens sign Kendall Fuller to a 4-year, $49 million contract, and that was really the only big move they made besides the trade to get Calais Campbell as well. So they made the trade to get Calais Campbell, and they went out and signed Kendall Fuller to be their second cornerback. And now I think this defense just got a lot better with the addition of Fuller as a young cornerback, another young corner on the team, and Calais Campbell, a veteran guy on the defensive line. They're still in win-now mode, and those two moves I think were very big to continue to shore up this defense and have it still be in that top category that we're used to seeing them in. Meanwhile, around the league, Tyreek Hill is going to Houston to play with the Texans. He'll be catching balls from Deshaun Watson this year. And Kareem Hunt will be going down to Florida to play for the Miami Dolphins. It's a 5-year deal worth $54.6 million per year. Jadeveon Clowney also going to the Dolphins. The Dolphins had some money to spend, and they made their moves this year. 3 years, $45 million. Yannick Ngakoue will be going to the Cardinals. I almost said St. Louis Cardinals. That's the baseball team. I'm talking about the Arizona Cardinals, the football team. 3 years worth $40.4 million. Miles Jack going to Los Angeles to play with the Chargers. I'm so used to calling them San Diego, I almost did it again. One day I'll get used to that. That day is not today, however. $44.4 million for Miles Jack to go and play with the Chargers. Joe Thuney will be going to Arizona to join the Cardinals as well, protecting Kyler Murray, their young investment at quarterback over there. $36.7 million for the left guard. Ronald Darby, cornerback, going to the Seahawks. $35.6 million over 3 years for him and his contract. And as far as one of the big signings go, the last one we'll talk about here is Derrick Henry. Going from Tennessee to Buffalo with the Bills at $40.3 million over 5 years. The agency was a big part of the NFL. As always, there were a bunch of signings, bunch of guys moving around, going to new teams, and that's what makes free agency so fun. And the NFL draft is just around the corner, which means we'll get an influx of young talent to come into the league. You better believe that I will be here to give you all of the news regarding the Ravens picks and picks for other teams around the league. Stay tuned here on WPOE, the place to be for all things Ravens. I am B-Ron signing out. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and until next time, you know what to do. Keep on shining and keep on grinding.